This is probably going to be the most comprehensive video on cold email you'll watch on YouTube. If you're considering cold email to grow your business, get consistent leads, or push a product, or you want to get better at cold email, I promise you that by the end of this video, you will have the skill set to be in the top 1% of cold emailers. Buckle up and get your notepad ready. This is everything I wish I knew before getting started, and every single piece of the puzzle is critical to actually seeing success. No theories, no BS, just what turns emails into meetings and meetings into cash. And to be safe, I'm going to assume you know nothing so that I don't leave anything out. Now, before we start, my name is Pablo Melandu. I currently run a B2B cold traffic marketing agency called Scale. We send over 40,000 emails a month for ourselves and our clients, and everything I share is from my own experience and what is currently working for us. Without further ado, let's get into it. First, infrastructure. If this breaks, nothing else matters. Your emails either won't send or they'll land in spam every single time. You're going to waste your money and nothing is going to go right. Take it from me, I learned the hard way. Buy email accounts from resellers, not directly from Google or Microsoft. Don't go straight to Google Workspace and start buying users. Don't start buying Outlook accounts directly. This way, it'll save you a ton of money. Use your business name for emails, never personal emails. Just make sure it's a secondary domain. So what do I mean by that? Well, for example, if your business is Walmart, go and buy some domains like Hello Walmart or Hi Walmart. You want this to be easy for people to Google, which is why we do it that way. You might want to sell your business one day, and it's also a lot more professional, especially if you're doing business to business transactions. You don't want to come off as just some independent contractor. You want to show up as a business. It's just better. So pick either Google or Microsoft emails or both. Both work the exact same. Google's going to be good this month, then bad the next month, and vice versa with Microsoft. They might be bad this week and great next week. They're always changing their algorithms. They're always cranking something up and tightening spam filters. Either way, they both work. Neither is better than the other. You can get obsessed over this or you can make money and start booking meetings. The goal will be to start off by sending 1,000 emails per day, Monday to Friday. 20 emails per inbox max until you get good. Here's the math. 1,000 emails divided by 20 emails per account equals 50 email accounts needed. 2 email accounts per domain. So buy 25 domains from Spaceship, Pork Bun, or Namecheap. Again, buy 25 domains from Spaceship, Pork Bun, or Namecheap. Name your inbox accounts like Pablo at Walmart.com and Pablo M at Walmart.com, but for your name, of course. If you're beginning and you've never done cold email before, I would highly recommend you do not set these up yourself. Go ahead and purchase them from a reseller who will set it up for you. Most of the big ones you'll find with a quick Google search are reputable. Now, here's the critical part most people mess up. You want to warm all these email accounts for at least 2 weeks, no shortcuts. You don't want to skip this part. In fact, don't take any shortcuts in any of the stuff that we talk about in this video, but especially not this. Do not skip the warm-up. If you skip the warm-up, don't complain when your emails land in spam or that your response rate is really low. And never turn the warm-up off even while you are sending your campaigns. It's dumb. Don't do that. Now, why are we doing this warm-up thing? When you create a fresh inbox, a fresh email account, you want to create a sending pattern. You don't want to create an inbox and start sending 1,000 emails a day from it right away or 100 emails a day. You want everything you do to mimic human activity. Just think about it. If you made a new email address today, you're not going to start sending 100 emails from it by yourself, typing manually. Most likely you're not. So start with 6 to 10 emails per day, like a real human would, right? There's no rules to this. Don't obsess over the number. Just turn the warm-up on and gradually increase the number of warm-up emails sent. There's a setting to do this on each modern email sending platform. Your email system will handle this for you. So Instantly or Smartly, they have warm-up tools to do this. Pick either Instantly or Smartly to send your emails. There are a few other ones popping up right now that might be interesting and that look interesting, but for right now, these two platforms have proven themselves. We personally started out with Instantly, and now we personally use Smartly, but I know a lot of people who are having success on both. So pick which one looks nicer to you. Pick which one your favorite cold emailer uses or your favorite marketer uses and go from there. They're literally equally as easy. Smartly does a bit better of a job, in my personal opinion, on the analytics side and just showing all the metrics and stuff like that, but Instantly looks cooler. So pick either one. You'll be just fine. Again, never send more than 20 emails per day from each email account. You can, but depending on how good you are with the other things, like copy, your email copy and your lead list and stuff like that we'll talk about in the rest of this video, you might run into some trouble with getting higher rates of people marking your emails as spam if you start sending a lot of emails. So right now, I'd say just play it cool, set up your system the right way from the start, like we're talking about right now. Plan to send at least 1,000 emails per day, every day once you start, okay? That's it. That covers infrastructure. By the way, don't send anything from your primary domain. So nothing from walmart.com, only hiwalmart.com or hellowalmart.com. Cool. All right. Now let's talk about what's arguably the most important part of an email campaign, your offer. And this is where most people screw up. Your offer is going to make or break your campaign. If you get everything else right in this video, and I wish I had known what I'm about to say when I first started. If you get everything right, at least to 80% correctness, right? So you get the infrastructure about 80% correct. You get the lead list, the targeting, the copy, the campaign management. Like you get all this stuff at least 80% correct, right? If you're not getting any reply rates at that point, it's because of your offer or your success multipliers, which we'll get into later. I would be testing and changing the offer. I still do this every single day to this day, or at least the wording of it and the benefits that you're choosing to emphasize. In other words, the positioning of your offer. If everything else looks right and you're confident you set it up right, your offer is the reason you are not getting replies. Now, the easiest way to score high on the offer category is to pick an offer that's already proven to work. Just look at the people who are having success in cold email. You can look them up on YouTube and just copy their offer. And there are a lot of offers that are already proven to work. I'm not some guru on offers, but I know what makes a great offer. Side note, highly recommend that you read Alex Hormozi's $100 million offers. If you're in the space, you've probably already heard of that book. Here are the components of a great offer. And again, you can circumvent and skip this whole thing, skip this whole part, if you just copy an offer that already works. But it's also important to understand this, because you want to understand, in the off chance that your offer doesn't work or it becomes saturated, you want to understand why. And you want to understand how to create good offers as well. First off, a good offer removes risk, right? An easy way to remove risk is by providing a money back guarantee or by making it performance based. So essentially, you've probably seen this on the internet, right? We'll get you 30 meetings or whatever it is, and you pay per meeting, which means they're only paying you. Your client's only paying you if you actually get them results, if you actually get them meetings or leads or whatever it is that you're offering. That's performance based. You have to perform in order to get paid. It's also easy on the client, right? Which is why performance based is so popular. And you can only start to move further away from performance based if you have results. Cool. Copy. Awesome. Now, a great offer also provides a fast turnaround of results, a small amount of delay, right? It provides quick wins, so they won't have to wait 6 months to see a win. Now, depending on what niche you're in, of course, right? Like a niche like private equity has a really long deal cycle, right? Private equity has really long deal cycles, so it depends on your niche. But besides the point, a great way to produce fast turnaround of results, or at least make it seem somewhat fast, is to set the expectations beforehand. Or at least make it seem fast, right? Is to set longer timeline expectations beforehand on purpose and then deliver sooner than expected. So promise them that you'll get them results in a month and then you get it to them in 2 or 3 weeks, right? Another easy way to make it feel like they're having quick wins is to just share what you've been doing. So say something like, hey, we set up your domains, or hey, we set this up for you, so on and so forth, right? Now, next, a great offer makes the value obvious. They shouldn't have to guess as to why this is valuable. It should be obvious that this is valuable. Even if they're not interested, even if it has nothing to do with them, the value should be obvious. So first off, to make it obvious, it should either make them money, or save them time. Second, to make the value obvious, state what their specific quantifiable result is going to be. For example, I will guarantee that you see 10 new sales meetings this month. It's a tangible result. It's 10 sales meetings. That's what they're actually getting. And this is also why I pivoted from my previous coaching and consulting business, because a lot of it is feelings based, right? A lot of it is advice based, and that stuff combined with it being business to business to customer or business to consumer rather than business to business can be really annoying to sell. Anyway, so that's essentially how you make a good offer in a short summary. And again, the easiest way to check all of this stuff off is to pick an offer that's already proven to work. All right. That's offer creation. So we've covered infrastructure. We've covered offer. We're going to dive into the lead list and targeting piece now. Why? Because this is arguably the second most important thing, considering you can actually send the emails and they don't land in spam. Now you want to make sure you're sending the right emails with the right offer to the right people. And I laugh at people who get so obsessed with the copywriting because I did too. And hey, it's a great skill to learn, but listen, this isn't a sales page. It's just an email. And often the emails that are under 50 words do the best and perform the best. How much copy are you really doing? How much copywriting are you really doing in just 50 words? Not much. So let's talk about the lead list building. Lead list building and targeting. So targeting is who you're targeting, right? I'm targeting senior citizen homes, for example. Now a lead list, we're building a list of senior citizen homes. We're building a list of leads that match that target profile. So a bunch of senior citizen homes in a list. That's what a lead list is. It's a list. The single best databases to use to build these lead lists and to find these people are Apollo and LinkedIn. LinkedIn because the business owners are there and they're literally saying, hey, I'm the CEO of X company. And as for Apollo, there are about 35 million companies in Apollo globally, which you have access to at the snap of a finger. The money is there. And if you can't make it work with Apollo, then you're doing something wrong. So let's talk about how to do list building and targeting for dummies, like in a really foolproof way. First off, pick a niche you know well, right? This is a trap that a lot of beginners fall into, chasing the thing that's shiny. I would not recommend you pick a niche you do not know well. So you're going to want to go to a niche that you ideally have work experience in, or that you're passionate about, or a niche that you can learn somewhat quickly. One mistake I made was going into telehealth companies. So tech companies that make tech for hospitals, clinics, etc. Terrible mistake, right? Terrible mistake. I had no idea what I was talking about, who I was talking to, what they cared about, so on and so forth. And it was very difficult to get a response. And when I did get an interested reply, I'd get so scared that I just wouldn't reply. It's insane. I didn't know how to run campaigns for them. I didn't understand what they were talking about or what their offer was. Like I couldn't do any of the stuff that I'd need to make an email campaign successful and get them results. So lesson learned, pick a niche that you know well and that already works. I only like to operate in niches where it's really obvious what's happening in there, and a niche that I can learn quite quickly and quite easily, or a niche that I have experience in. So moving on, what's really important to note about Apollo is that every filter matters. This is really important. Every filter in Apollo is completely shifting the trajectory of your campaign. So as you're going through these filters in Apollo, job titles you're targeting, company sizes, location, so on and so forth, I want you to start training yourself to think really deeply about what this means for the alignment of your offer. Or in other words, what this might mean for how you're communicating with these people, what this means for your copy, your copywriting. Here are the three main things, the three main levers in Apollo, the three main filters, right? Employee headcount, location, and industry. So you'd go in Apollo and you'd see, for example, employee count, you'd see 1 to 10 employees, 11 to 20 employees, and you're selecting companies with that headcount. If you're starting out and you have no social proof or whatever it might be, or even if you do, but you want to have real success in cold email quickly, I would say go after boutique firms or smaller firms. Why? Because enterprise firms, we're talking companies with 500 plus or 1,000 plus employees, and even that is very conservative for what actually is an enterprise firm. But for enterprise firms, it's very difficult to crack because the chain of command is so large, right? And number two, a lot of times they have more secure spam filters and things you have to get around. The deals are there, and the money is there, and you might get responses. However, think about the day in the life of a CEO if you can. Just think about it. The CEO who runs a company of 500 or 1,000 people, there are only so many things they're paying attention to, and your cold email is likely not one of them, unless you're giving them the proven numbers to the next lottery. Now, don't let me make it seem like it's impossible, but I'm just only communicating what has worked for us so that I can get you results if you follow this. I don't have anything to sell you. These videos are just ongoing case studies as to what is working for us right now. So headcount is one of the three main filters in Apollo that's really going to shift the trajectory and the success of your campaign. Next, is location. And for location, we like to stick to the USA for reasons I'll explain in a moment. And then there's also industry, which is the third filter. But so headcount, I explained why you want to target small companies. 3 to 10 employees, could be 2 to 15 employees. Not super strict, but I like starting, I like 3, right? Starting at a minimum of 3, because they at least have something going on for themselves, right? Maybe they at least have a sales rep. And I'm in cold traffic marketing. I'm in lead generation. So I like to work with companies who can handle the volume of sales opportunities, right? Maybe they have a sales rep or an established sales process at least. I'd rather it not be a one-person company or an independent contractor. And now the person you're targeting, the job titles at a company of 3 to 10 employees, keep in mind, is also a lot different than a company with 50 plus employees. So for a company with 3 to 10 employees, you know exactly who's making the decisions, right? It's a CEO, it's the CEO, the founder, the co-founder, the president. So you want to think about, what do they care about? What do they care about? What does the CEO or founder or co-founder or president care about? Especially of a smaller company, right? And then of a 3 to 10 employee company care about, right? So 50 plus company, a 3 to 10 company, what do they care about? If you were them, what would you care about, right? Knowing that you're getting 20 emails a day from strangers trying to get your time and business. End of the day, you're going to have to test, and you're going to expect to miss and misfire a lot. But this is about shot attempts, which is why volume matters so much, which is why we want to start off with 1,000 emails per day. You see how this kind of all fits together? So 3 to 10 employees, I would recommend start small. We call these firms, again, boutiques. Next is a geographic region, USA. By the way, I said these are the 3 main levers. Of course, there are other important ones like job title, right? Or email verification or revenue and so on and so forth. But job title's pretty standard, right? Other than that, the main ones that are going to shift the trajectory of your campaign are these. Cool. So why USA? In terms of geographic region, right? Why USA? Because they're the most responsive to cold email. They're the most responsive to cold email. There's just a lot of business in the USA. There's a lot of money in the USA. There's no denying that. That's it. And then industry. We talked about this, but pick a niche or pick an industry that you know well, and that is already proven to work for whatever it is that you are selling. Now, even better if you can target a sub niche. Right? So if you're targeting marketing agencies, even better if you provide a service to marketing agencies that work specifically with healthcare companies or doctors. You don't have to do this, the whole sub niche thing, and it'll make your campaigns a lot smaller. You may not hit the 1,000 emails per day mark because there's not enough people to email, but you will likely get higher positive reply rates and just reply rates in general. If you're just starting, I do challenge you to think of a niche other than SaaS or software companies. Because while there's a lot of money in software companies, they are notoriously difficult to penetrate. You can do it, right? You're just going to have a lot of the other things. You're going to have to score higher on a lot of the other things we're going to talk about in this video, like the sales calls, success multipliers, campaign management, so on and so forth. You're going to have to be very sharp with your lead list, your targeting. You're going to have to do a sub niche of software companies, ideally, if you want to have any success in that niche. Probably my worst performing campaign, or one of my worst performing campaigns ever. And I've actually put a case study out about this on my channel. I should have linked the video here. It was just blank targeting software companies, right? And I didn't even target companies with 3 to 10 employees. It was like every company under 250 employees in the US that is a tech company gets an email. And it made my deliverability go down by a lot because no one's responding, right? And I was hitting spam filters, and then every campaign after that did poorly and worse and worse and worse because my deliverability was toast, my inboxes were toast, my domain reputation was toast. And the more you get hit with the spam button, this is how cold email works, the more people mark your emails as spam, the worse your performance is going to be. So don't do that. Learn from my mistakes, people, if you're watching this video. So point being, I stay far away from software companies unless they come to me and unless I'm doing lead gen on their behalf. But I don't like to pitch my services to software companies. So you can go for it. Just humble yourself when you see the results. Make sure it's a niche, again, where you can speak the language. We talked about that before when we mentioned to pick a niche you know well, and that already works. And if you're going to target SaaS, I would say go for it if you come from SaaS or if you have professional work experience in SaaS, because you can mention that in your email. You can say, P.S. I have however many years of experience in SaaS, or I work in SaaS myself, or whatever it is. Anyway, let's move on. So I wouldn't say that this is, I wouldn't say this number. So I don't know where that came from. But anyway, so pick a total addressable market that is big enough, right? So here's why. I ran an email campaign to vet tech companies once. So the umbrella industry, the overall general industry was software companies, SaaS companies. And then the sub niche was software companies who create software for veterinarians. I didn't know what I was doing. So there are only so many of those companies, right? There might be like, I don't know, 1,000 of them or 2,000 of them, especially when you're getting down to companies that are only 3 to 10 employees. Like there's only like 500 of them in the entire United States. And we're trying to send 1,000 emails per day, right? So of course, my campaign was like a one-time campaign, and I don't even think I ran it, to be honest, if I'm thinking right, after seeing how small the pool size was. So rookie mistakes, guys. Learn from my mistakes. So let's say you have all that, right? The total addressable market and everything, and you're following everything, and your campaign's doing well, and maybe you're getting some responses. Well, the question is, how do you scale now? How do we get more wins, right? How do you find more leads? And I'm foreshadowing here, but let's just say because your campaign's doing well, you're getting good reply rates, you're seeing some success, right? And you're getting meetings now. Maybe you're even closing some of these meetings. Again, how do you scale? Well, here is exactly how you scale. Number one is you just gradually increase the company size you're going after, right? So from 3 to 10 employees, you might go 3 to 15 or 3 to 20. Now there's some kind of invisible threshold there, right? Where your offer will start to lose relevance the more you change any of those levers, right? Your copy loses relevance because it becomes less specific. So for example, one of my recurring offers is we'll get you, let's say 5 to 10 sales meetings a month, right? On a performance basis, or you don't pay. And 5 to 10 sales meetings a month loses relevance. It's not really that important or significant for a company that has 500 employees. So Google's getting, who knows, 5 sales meetings per department per day per location, right? So it just loses relevance. Like, what is 5 meetings to Google every month? So you want to be paying attention and noting this stuff down. Label your campaigns properly as well accordingly. Like, okay, this campaign is for companies 3 to 10 or 50 to 100 employees, right? Because you're going to want to be paying close attention to the success of these campaigns and seeing where it starts to lose relevance or where your performance dips, right? You're going to want to track all this stuff and think deeply about it. So that's increasing the company size. Now to scale, you can also expand geographically and target other countries. So the USA tends to have a lot of similarities to the Canadian market, as well as the market in the United Kingdom, Australia, New Zealand, etc. So another easy way to scale is just expand those locations. Now, broadening the niche is the third way, right? So instead of going more and more narrow into a sub niche, just expand and go broad. So if you started off with fintech for financial advisors, you'd broaden it to fintech for financial advisors and wealth managers and private banks. You'd broaden it that way until you ultimately just get to fintech companies, or you ultimately just get to software companies, because it's the most broad it can get, right? So broadening the niche. Now, you've done all that. Cool. We know how to scale for when we start to win, but now we're doing the targeting, we're filtering through Apollo. Now, how do we get this data out of Apollo and like into a spreadsheet where we can manipulate it and clean it and verify it and all this stuff, right? So long story short, you're going to want to use a website. You're going to want to go to a website called Apify. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. And it allows you to just scrape these results from Apollo. And it automatically, and it allows you to download it into a CSV, a spreadsheet. By the way, Apify is super cheap. Super cost effective. I love it. It's like you can scrape like 1,000 leads for, I don't know, $1, something like that. So it's really nice. So you use Apify to scrape Apollo, just download it into a CSV or / a spreadsheet. Take that spreadsheet and then you upload it into a platform called clay.com. Clay is like a really fancy spreadsheet. You might see a lot of my videos of me using this or other people on YouTube. This is a fancy spreadsheet. And it allows you to verify and format and clean and play with thousands of leads and data in minutes. It's actually quite user friendly. So don't get thrown off by this. Don't get thrown off by this, especially once you get good at it. It's very handy. It's going to be your best friend. And I've uploaded Clay tutorials as well. You should go check those out. So point being, clean your leads in Clay, because a lot of these emails are not actually going to be valid that you find in Apollo, right? Even if it says they are. So the most important thing when it comes to cleaning leads in Clay is verifying the emails. Make sure you're not sending emails to email addresses that no longer exist or that are automatically set up to block your email. So the way I do that is with a plugin or a website called Mail Tester Ninja. A lot of people recommend Million Verifier or Lead Magic. I personally like Mail Tester Ninja. Not that the others are bad. This is just what I'm used to. It's simple. It works. I only have to verify once, and it's nice. Right. Another thing, once you've cleaned all the email addresses, you also want to make sure that you clean the company names as well. So notice the raw company name is what you will get from Apollo. So it'll look like Walmart Inc. You want to clean it so that it's simple and says Walmart, just Walmart. Because when you add this stuff as variables into your emails, as placeholders into your emails, you don't want to say, hey, I wanted to reach out because I found Walmart Inc. when I was looking up companies in Ohio. You want to just say Walmart. So clean the company name, right? I use Gemini to do this. I use Gemini because it's essentially free. I like Gemini. Again, what I mean when I say I use Gemini to do this is you can use these apps, Gemini, Mail Tester Ninja, so on and so forth, as plugins inside of Clay. And then to personalize the email with AI, I have other videos on this, but you're going to want to use ChatGPT. Again, you use this as a plugin within Clay, right? So you can use ChatGPT within Clay, within that spreadsheet essentially. But the idea behind personalization is you want to make sure that your emails feel relevant, right? So you're personalizing it by state or whatever it is. And I have a ton of other videos on that. We won't get into this right now for the sake of length. And you want your emails to not feel like you sent emails today to 999 other people. So that's the overarching point. If you understand the strategy, then the how-to, the technical part, is really easy, and it makes a lot more sense when I show it to you in other videos. So point being, you don't want them to feel like they're on a list. They might very well email you and say, hey, unsubscribe me from your list. And that's fine. That's just the terminology people use. But at the very least, they knew you were a human if they say that, because otherwise they would just reply with a keyword, or they'd hit spam, and they're probably going to anyway, but that's okay. Point being, don't take it personally. You're going to get negative responses like, hey, stop sending me emails. But that in a nutshell is how you do targeting to at least get it 80% right? Meaning you do everything I said and you will be at an A or A- grade level with your lead list building and targeting. The other 20% are just advanced strategies. But if you want to be successful, this is all you need to know. And the more you do this, the more times you go into Apollo and start penetrating a new industry and do some more scraping, the more precise you start to get. And it just becomes more intuitive. And you think about more things that maybe you didn't think about before. And the more tests you do, the more feedback you get on where you might have went wrong. And this is why you want to send a high volume of emails so that you get more information. Because I'd say most of the success from cold email comes from testing. Just testing the people who are doing well, right? Testing everything. And again, I'm only speaking on our experience and how we've been able to start turning things around and booking meetings. And most people who are seeing success, they've just done a lot of what doesn't work. And now they know and they realize that it's just easiest to follow people and listen to people who are seeing success and just do what they do. So that's the lead list. Now, full disclosure, we are not some $100 million agency. We're very young, but we have this stuff down pat and we're booking meetings. So if you are in the position I was in just a few months ago when I was really struggling with this stuff, I've published multiple case studies on all of this, by the way, the ups and downs, or you don't know why your deliverability isn't working, or you are trying to get really good at copywriting, this video is for you. This video has everything you need, I've made sure. Again, as you go through this video, what I would personally be doing is mentally checking off if you're doing all these things to the T. because I thought I was creating a good offer. I thought I was just copying an offer of a person that works, but maybe I was messing up this one thing here or this other thing there, etc. So I've backtracked everything that we've done. I've been documenting every time I went wrong somewhere and how I overcame it. And by following this stuff, it's allowed us to have our results be a lot more predictable. And we've built that system that you see in front of you, which I give for free. The link is in the description. It's a Google form. Fill it out. I'll send it straight to your inbox personally. And it allows us to get more predictable results for our clients. Anyway, so now that is list building and targeting in a nutshell. Again, there are advanced strategies. This isn't all of it, but this is what you need to get an A and to make a cold email money printing machine. So now let's talk about copywriting. This is everyone's favorite topic. So because you spent so much time in the targeting phase, the copy should just write itself. And I'll show you what I mean in a sec. Well, here's what I mean. Here's how you have to think about it. Ask yourself, what does this person in this role of this company care about? And put yourself in their shoes. That's it. Take a deep breath, sit back and relax when it comes to copywriting, because it doesn't get that complicated. What we're going to talk about here is all you need to know to be successful. First, campaign strategy. Campaign strategy matters the most. So there are 3 different major types of campaign strategy with cold email. There are Loom campaigns, there are lead magnet campaigns, and then there are direct pitch campaigns. So with a Loom campaign, these are best for building trust. So what a Loom campaign is let's say I'm offering lead generation as a service, right? In the call to action of my email, I'm really basing it around a Loom, and I'll talk about calls to action in a second. So for example, I'll end the email with, can I send you a quick video showing how we do this for your company, right? So Loom, if you don't already know, is a platform that allows you to make videos, right? The nice thing is the person receiving the email, they get to see your face, right? They get to put a face to a name. They get to see that you're a real person emailing them. You get to show your case studies, your testimonials, instead of just sending a big block of text over an email. You just make a quick 3 to 4 minute Loom video, send it over to them, or a screen recording, and then say, hey, let me know your thoughts on the video. And then just follow up a day or 2 later asking if they've seen it and if they'd be interested in discussing further. There isn't this pressure, this obligation to get on a call, which is why I like it and why it works rather well. Second type of campaign strategy, major type of campaign strategy, is a lead magnet campaign. Now, lead magnets deserve their own video. A lead magnet, in a nutshell, if you don't already know, is a freebie. So in other words, you're sending something for free, kind of like a list of leads or something, right? This is really great for generating high reply rates. It's the hardest to convert to a meeting, because a lot of people just want the thing, right? And if the thing that you're offering for free isn't spectacular, like nothing short of spectacular, or if it doesn't solve their problem, whatever it promises to do, if it doesn't do that, then it's very hard to convert a meeting out of that. And you can actually bomb the whole trust in the relationship right there by providing them something really bad, because you're wasting their time. So lead magnets can be very tough to get right because they have to be stellar. They have to be excellent. You want to make sure that it's a lead magnet that is easy to fulfill, ideally with AI. So that's going to take some thinking. But lastly, we have direct pitch campaigns, which are my favorite and the ones I run the most for myself and clients. As you can imagine, it's hard to get a client to make a lead magnet or a Loom video every single time. So direct pitch campaigns are just asking for the meeting directly and or pitching your offer directly. So lowest reply rates, highest qualified leads. Loom campaigns, lead magnet campaigns, direct pitch campaigns, right? You should always be ready to send each. You should be playing around with each because some markets respond differently to different campaigns. So some offers go best with lead magnet campaigns. Some offers go best with direct pitch campaigns. It depends on what you want. So that's a campaign strategy. And this is why, a 0.8% reply rate isn't always bad, or a 1% reply rate isn't always bad or good, because it depends on what you are sending and to whom, right? And which industry and what the offer is. All this stuff fits together. Provided your infrastructure is correct, you can get away with a 1% reply rate. You can get away with a 2% reply rate. A 0.7% to 1% reply rate is also not uncommon for some offers, especially if you're doing direct pitch. Because some offers are just a lot more saturated than others in certain niches. Certain niches are used to getting a lot more cold emails. Maybe they're more tired and fatigued by cold emails than others, for example, software companies. So that's the campaign strategy. Again, ultimately just pick, choose, and test all 3 different types of campaign strategies: Loom campaigns, lead magnet campaigns, direct pitch campaigns for each market you go into, and test copy for each type of campaign. As you can imagine, this is a lot of testing. So the easiest way to get through that testing and see your results and know what works best quickest is to send a lot of emails, which is why you have to get all this stuff correctly. Again, can you see how all this adds together and fits together, and why you need every single piece of the puzzle, and why you need to consider if you are actually doing each of these steps? So that's the campaign strategy. Again, I know I've said that 3 times already, but that extra stuff was important. The next thing to know is that there are 5 main building blocks of email copy. Now we're in copywriting 101. Buckle up. The most important part of your email, besides your offer, is your campaign strategy. But once you've gotten that down pat, and we're sending this to the right people, we can talk about what to put in the actual email. We can talk about copywriting for real. The fastest way to learn how to write good emails is to read and see examples of other good emails. Start building a swipe file or a list of good emails, a folder of good emails that you've seen, and binge these emails. So 5 main building blocks of email copy. By the way, I'm not counting the subject line. Just use regular subject lines like quick question or something like that. 5 main building blocks of copy: relevance line, ask a question, which is optional, the offer statement, social proof, call to action. And then we'll talk about some bonuses like the PS line and opt-out line as well. So first is the relevance line. This is usually the first line after you salute them or you greet them. So it's really just answering who are you and why now, right? Its whole goal is to let the person know that this email was purposely sent to them and that it's relevant. What you can do in this line to create relevance, to make the email relevant, is you talk about their recent funding, their hiring activity. Maybe you have AI scan their recent social media posts, right? You can say, hey, I found your company while looking up X firms, while looking up, I don't know, tech firms or something like that, or fintech firms. Point being, you just need a reason that answers, why are you emailing me? Who are you? And why are you emailing me now? So that's a relevance line. Second component of the email is asking a question. So this is optional, right? Josh Braun, by the way, is a great email copywriter. He coined a term called poke the bear, at least when it comes to email, which is when you ask a question that reveals a real pain. So for example, how are you keeping track of your leads right now? Or how are you keeping track of all those leads that your sales reps are not getting a hold of? Or what are you doing about that, right? That's a question that pokes the bear. It's a question that awakes a pain. It reveals a pain. It stirs a bit of emotion, right? This isn't mandatory, asking a question. Again, like all things, test with and without that line. Test all these things, which again is why you want to send a lot of emails. So third in the email, now third line is the offer statement. So this makes or breaks your whole cold email. Like we talked about before, this makes or breaks the success of your email. So this is about how you're framing your offer, right? In your offer statement, that sentence, that offer statement is the sentence that's describing your offer. Here's what you need to know to be tactful with this, right? You want to make whatever that you're offering feel new. You want to make whatever you're offering feel new. So something they haven't seen before. You want to ideally not have them categorize it. You want to make it feel easy, safe, or big. Pick maybe 2 out of the 4 I just mentioned. So I borrowed this concept from a gentleman named Kyle Milligan. Kyle Milligan is a copywriter. He has a really good book on copywriting called Take Their Money. So the way you do all this is by using words like, if you're trying to invoke the emotion of new and trying to make this offer seem like it's something new and novel, you'll use words like game changer. If you're trying to communicate that the offer is easy on the client, you'll use words like on autopilot, which is why you see these words in a lot of YouTube video titles a lot, or step by step, or done for you. If it's safe, if the offer is safe, you'll see words like guaranteed, for example, or no risk. Now, don't use either of those. Don't use guarantee or no risk. They are spam words. You might use it sometimes if your copy is exceptional and your targeting and all else checks off, but I wouldn't recommend it. If the offer is if it's a big opportunity, you might see some words like, you'll see a lot of numbers like 10x or 1000x. You might see things like game changing, words like game changing, again, because that signals big. It's a big opportunity as well. So here's a quick example of an offer statement. And then from here, you can get creative with this. If we can get you 5 new clients in 90 days without any upfront payment, would you be interested in speaking? Cool, cool. And then fourth in the email, fourth line is the social proof line. Very simple. We helped X company and they saw Y result, right? So the key points with social proof is be honest, try and cite a relevant company, and test the email with and without a social proof line. Do all those 3 things and you'll be good. And the fifth is the call to action line. So also very simple. Examples open to discussing further, worth a chat. This is not that complicated, right? Just A/B test these, test with, test without, test one, test the other, and be intentional with what you're asking. Meaning, if you're going for a meeting, ask for a meeting. If you're going for a Loom strategy, ask if you can send the Loom. It's pretty hard to mess that part up. Now, to speed all this up, again, binge emails that have worked. Look up people who are doing well in cold email and just binge their emails. And all this stuff will just start to flow, and you'll start to be able to write emails and understand what you're doing. So those are the 5 main building blocks of email copy. And now you have some other extras that are also important. Like you may want to include a PS line. And if you find that you're taking up a lot of space with these 4 building blocks, you may want to put some of that stuff in the PS line, right? So in the PS line, if I'm going to include one, I tend to put things like, maybe I move the relevance line down there and then just go straight into the email starting with the offer line, right? Or you can include the personalization in here. You can include your social proof in there. So for example, PS, we just got X company 10 leads. Or you can put in the risk reversal in there. So PS, we offer a 100% money back guarantee, right? So anything you couldn't fit in the body or you want to reemphasize, just move it to the PS line. Another component of the copywriting is to have an opt-out, right? Is to have an opt-out. So this is a big debate in the cold email space, but I recommend having an opt-out, not an unsubscribe link. And that's very important. Not an unsubscribe link, but an opt-out. So something like, if this is a mismatch, just say the word and I'll back off, right? I would include that, and I would spin tax it as well, because you don't want Google or Outlook to be able to fingerprint your email. So spin tax, in a nutshell, I use ChatGPT to spin tax everything in the email. So it'll be like, so everything from hi George, right? Every phrase, every line, every sentence, I will spin tax it so that it randomly says hi or hey. It randomly picks hi, hey, or hello, for example. So every sentence, every greeting, every idea, every phrase, every half sentence, spin tax it. How do you do that? Easy way, in 5 seconds, just copy your email, the whole initial draft, like write up a draft, copy it, paste it into ChatGPT, and then for the instructions, just tell ChatGPT to spin tax this for me. Tell it that. And then review the final answer, because sometimes the spacing can get weird, right? The next thing you want to do with your copy is just make sure that there are no spam words. So an easy way to do that is just take your copy and paste it into a website called Mail Meteor. It's free. Use it. And then have a 2-step email sequence. So 1 follow-up email. So max 3 steps. I like to do a 2-step email sequence. So 1 initial email and then 1 follow-up email, because if they're not going to respond on the first or second go, they're probably not going to respond, period. I mean, they will sometimes, but it's just like it's a diminishing return. You get a less and less chance, and there's a less and less chance of them opening it. I put a typo, but forgive me. But anyway, point being, people have tested this. So if you want to optimize your campaign and get the most results, you want to get the most bang for your buck and for your money, do 2-step email sequences. If they don't respond after that, that's that. On the second email, in terms of the call to action, you should be aiming to add more value. So if you start off with a direct pitch, and I know this isn't always easy, but if you started off with a direct pitch in the first email, things like, are you open to a chat or something like that, right? You should then, if that doesn't work, you should then move to a lead magnet campaign or a lead magnet call to action, saying things like, hey, I made you this free thing, or I want to send you this quick video. I made you a quick video. Would it help to see a quick video, right? So always ask for permission. But anyway, so that's copywriting in a nutshell. Again, just start with templates. If the template works for me, it may not work for you because your offer might be different. Maybe you're framing it differently. Like if all else stays the same, right? If the offer is the exact same, your infrastructure is exactly the way you should have set it up. You've used a template from someone reputable that has been proven to work. You're targeting, you're messing up somewhere in the targeting. If you got the offer right, you got the infrastructure right, you got the copy right, you're just using a template and you're not getting responses or not getting any positive replies on any level, you went wrong with the targeting, right? Or you're sending it to people like at a software company or something. It's that same old story where they just have a bunch of spam filters, or they just don't respond to cold emails by and large because they're fatigued from cold emails. So, and also the success multipliers, which we'll talk about in a moment. But anyway, so that's email copy. It's nothing fancy. I don't try and be the best copywriter. I don't try and make the fanciest emails. So now you've launched your campaign, or you're about to launch your campaign. Let's talk about how to manage everything. So there's a pre-launch checklist you should go through, right? We've talked about the spin tax. We've talked about making sure there's no spam words and instantly and smartly before you launch a campaign and all that stuff. But there's a bunch of different things you want to watch out for. This has been talked about a lot, even on my own channel, but I have to mention it if I'm guiding you in the right direction. So first thing is only send your email in plain text. What that means is no HTML, no images, and no links. You can send links once you've gotten a reply. It's free game at that point. But in your first email, don't do it. By the way, for these things, there's settings in Instantly and Smartly before you launch your campaign. It'll bring up windows. It'll bring up a window, and you can just check or uncheck if you want to do these things or not. So it's very easy to do. Cool. Second is you want to run a spam test. So run a spam test within Instantly and Smartly. They have some pretty accurate spam tests for obvious reasons you want to do this. Then you want to run a spell check in Google Docs. It's unbelievable that I have to say this, but I've caught myself when I review the campaign later on, once it's already launched, or I've gotten replies and I look at all this stuff, I see that I've made typos or I didn't clean the company name properly or whatever it is. So run a campaign in Google Docs before you launch the campaign. Cool. All right. Now send a test email to yourself just to see how it looks. So sometimes even running a spell check, it misses things, like it misses the formatting, it misses double spacing, right? There might be a double space that a spell check won't or cannot catch. But you just looking at the email, you will catch it. And then I always like to sleep on emails before I send them and then just review it once more in the morning with fresh eyes. This is not mandatory. There have been times where I've launched campaigns. I've built and launched campaigns within a couple of hours. But if I can be afforded the time, I like to sleep on it. So that's a checklist of things you should be going through before you launch your email campaign. Now, managing that campaign, we're assuming now that it's launched. One of the most important metrics for your success in your campaign is going to be how fast you responded to interested replies. Now, when it comes to Loom campaigns, it can take some time to get back to them with a Loom. I get it. With lead magnets, you want to make sure that the lead magnet is already ready if possible. But for a Loom campaign, you either just make it as quickly as possible, or you send them an email within 5 minutes and you say, hey, absolutely, I'll go right ahead and make that video for you. You can expect it within the hour, and then you just send it 10 minutes later. So you reply with that initial response within 5 minutes, and then you go make the Loom. By the way, you can automate your replies with make.com or Zapier, but listen, I just recommend if you're just starting out, just don't do that. Don't automate things. Have your responses ready if they are interested. All right. Now, next, don't pause your campaigns. A lot of beginners do this. I know because I did this a lot when I first started. Don't pause your campaigns unless your reply rate is straight up 0%. Don't pause it. Let it continue. Let it be. Why? We want this data. If it's 0.1%, just let it go. Let it run. Don't pause it unless it's just 0%. So out of office replies, by the way, or automated replies, don't count towards your reply rate. They should not count. A lot of people fake their reply rates on Twitter, on YouTube, because they count automated replies and they count out of office replies. Out of office replies and automated replies do not count. Again, they don't count. Not interested replies count. Hey, thanks for emailing me, but I'm not interested. Something like that will count or should count. But automated replies or out of office replies do not count. It's really hard to fit all this into your mind. I know. Especially if you're just beginning, right? Absorbing 50 minutes of this so far. I know it's tough, but what you want to work towards is 1 meeting generated per 1,000 emails sent. So if you send 2,000 emails, you want to have at least 2 meetings booked. That's something you want to work towards. It doesn't mean you should quit cold emailing if you don't get that on the first try. Let me be very clear about that. It took me months to get here. My first campaigns, I sent close to I probably sent close to 8 or 10,000 emails before I ever got my first meeting, something like that. Ridiculous numbers, right? Very bad. But this stuff takes time, point being. It takes time to build momentum. So give yourself time to get here. I was extremely bad at sending cold emails. Again, I thought I was great, but I was extremely bad because the numbers just spoke for themselves. So anyway, in terms of follow-up strategy, if they don't respond to your first or second email, just leave them alone. You're going to waste more time chasing people or trying to convince people who are not interested to become interested when you can just go after people who are interested. It's faster, it's easier. But if they do reply and they reply with interest, right? If they do reply and they reply with interest, if they say they want to see your lead magnet, if they say they want to see more information, if they say they want to view the video, after that, you should be following up until you get a clear yes or no. You should be following up every 2 to 3 days. Follow up at least 4 to 7 times until you get a clear yes or no. Cool? Now, sometimes you will have to make up reasons as to why you're following up, and that's okay. But anyway, so that is campaign management. So we've talked about infrastructure and deliverability a little bit. We've talked about offers and offer building, offer creation. We've talked about targeting and building a lead list and how to scale that. We've talked about copywriting and the psychology behind it. We've talked about campaign management. Now, let's talk about success multipliers. So if your lead list is good, if your offer is good, your copy is good, so on and so forth, if you're pretty confident, you're like, 75 to 80% confident that these are working because they're working for the guy beside you or the person you're modeling your stuff after on YouTube. If it's working for me on YouTube, right, but it's not working for you, I'm getting results. I come on here and say, hey, look at these results we just got, but you're copying exactly what I'm doing and you're not getting either any results. You either haven't sent enough emails, but assuming you're sending 1,000 emails a day, this is when we would take a look at the success multipliers. So this is the stuff that matters because, especially in 2025, because what's happening is you're emailing people. This is actually what's happening, right? You're emailing people, right? So you're emailing this guy, right? And look at him. Like, just imagine yourself getting a cold email from a complete stranger, right? That's a total stranger. You don't know if it's a scammer or not. You're a scammer until proven innocent. You need success multipliers, right? So you need social proof. You need social presence. You need a landing page, because what's happening is you're sending an email to these people and they're actually Googling you. They all are. My client just told me, was it last week? Yeah, last week, that they noticed an uptick in website traffic going to their website because of the emails that I was sending out on their behalf. So people are they're looking you up, right? And then they're deciding if they want to respond or not. So my reply rate now is going up because I'm putting out content aggressively. I'm on Twitter, I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on YouTube. You should be building social proof. If you don't have client video testimonials, especially if you're just starting out, it's not the end of the world. Right? A great way to build social proof is putting out videos on how you would do X. So for example, how you would build a campaign for construction companies. Just do a lot of those. Put out a lot of videos and content on, about tutorials. Make your own internal case studies. We're doing that all the time and we will continue to do that. This video is an example of that because this stuff cannot be faked and we're building this in real time. Internal case studies, you're just documenting your learning in real time. This is why we're documenting our growth in real time, because if you look back at my first videos, you will see where we weren't getting any results. Right? And I've screenshotted all this stuff and we're still super early on in our journey, but you can see the clear progression. And so that lets clients know and prospects know that we can do the same for them because we've been through that and have overcome it, which is why it's important to publish your losses at the beginning and just talk about what you're doing and don't mask everything. Right? And I have full intentions of doing this for years and years to come. So it's only going to compound and get better. But point is, don't be embarrassed. Please don't. Right? You don't have to have results right now to get clients. Just put out tutorials and walkthroughs and that stuff. So point being, start building up a social presence, because you can never have enough social proof. You can never have enough case studies. Speak on the topic often, whether it's just tweeting or posting on LinkedIn. Put all your YouTube videos on your website. Be everywhere. It's one of the best things you can do in 2025, right? Now, also the quality of your landing page, the quality of your website matters a lot. So take your time with this. You don't need a fancy website with 10 different pages. you at least need a landing page, a one-page website. There are a ton of examples of great landing pages out there. You can go to my agency website, vinceScale.com. It's just a blank landing page. It's just a landing page, and it works. Now, also a VSL, a video sales letter, is a must-have, and I'm not an expert on creating VSLs. There are other people for that, but it is a must-have. So those are the success multipliers. They multiply your success, right? So the success that you're getting right now, if you have all this stuff, it'll multiply it by 2, by 5, or by 10, depending on how good all these other things are, the funnel and all that fun stuff. So now let's assume you've booked the meeting, you've gotten them onto a sales call, right? If all these other things are set in stone, so you have a great offer, great copy, you've communicated it well in your copywriting because you followed this, right? And you've binged good emails and you're using a good template. If you're just starting out, you've done all this stuff, you sent the Loom explaining in more detail and stuff like that. You're finding the right people, the people who need this stuff. And then they jumped on a call with you, obviously, because you've done all that stuff, right? By the time they get on the call, they should already be sold. But to take the pressure off of sales calls, because I know how nerve-wracking they can be, just shift your mindset into one that says, hey, you're not selling. I'm not selling anything. Right? I'm not selling anything. I'm just sorting through to find my person. I'm sorting through to find my ideal client. You're just sorting through those who are qualified or not for you. You are diagnosing. People who are good at sales, they don't sell. They just ask questions. They just ask questions like a doctor or a consultant would. So you're the expert here. They need something that you are clearly offering. They need something that you're offering clearly, or they want something, like I just said, they need something you're offering clearly, or they want something that you're offering clearly. So figure out if there is a need by asking questions. That's all you're doing. You don't need to use a script all the time. Just know what questions you want to ask. Right? You're sifting through these people, you're sifting through these prospects on demos and strategy calls, and then maybe 2 out of 10 of them will be people who actually need what you're selling and who are actually clients you can work with and get help and get results for. So ask questions, run the numbers in the sales call if you can. So what I mean by that is just pull up a spreadsheet or a calculator and just calculate the ROI in front of them if you can, which is why you should be offering something tangible. Right? Like I know if I get you 5 meetings and you have a 20% close rate, so you close 1 of every 5 meetings, and your ticket price is $10,000, so you'll make $10,000 in revenue if I get you 5 meetings on average, and then you pay me, I don't know, $4 or $5 grand for my service. You profited $5 grand. It's free money. I just sold you free money, right? So anyway, if you're not good at sales, just get a sales script and stick to it, and don't deviate from it. Stick to it. Other than that, you should just be asking questions. If it's B2B, you'll most likely need a proposal. So you can close on the call, but oftentimes they will ask you to send a proposal, and that's okay. Use Gamma app to make proposals. It's really easy. So that's that. Again, just follow up naturally. If you didn't hear back from them, it should be pretty obvious. But so if you have all these things, I don't see how you don't get meetings. If you have all this stuff down pat, I don't see how you don't win or start to see results. This is exactly what I did and what other people have done that I know who are doing well. So in terms of timeline and expectations, after a 2-week warm up, I'd give yourself an opportunity to stumble and mess up a little bit with cold email if you're just starting, but you should start to see results in like the first 8 to 12 weeks. Right? So all in all, that is literally how you print money. You type things, you type emails, and then it turns into meetings, and those meetings turn into cash. And that's the closest thing to printing money. And then you just send more emails, you scrape more leads, and like always, if you have any questions, just leave a comment below and I will get back to you. If you run a B2B agency or business doing at least $20,000 a month in monthly recurring revenue and would like us to get you clients from cold traffic, the link is in the description. And if you'd like access to my entire cold email / cold traffic marketing blueprint for free, the link is in the description too. Peace.